Close friends getting closer in Moscow, where Xi Jinping has touched down ahead of what will be a highly anticipated discussion with Vladimir Putin. For more, Stuart Smith joins us from Moscow. Stuart, what are the chances of the leaders delivering a breakthrough of sorts in the Ukraine war?
Well, they have confirmed they are going to talk about it, and they are going to talk about it in the context of China's 12 potential guidelines for some kind of peace. Not specified in those guidelines, of course, is quite exactly how it will be approached. But on Monday, there is an informal discussion between the two leaders. On Tuesday, there is a formal component. So perhaps some headway will be found. But Russia, ahead of this meeting, did send a letter to Chinese media to be published for Chinese people to read. And in that, it clarified from the Kremlin point of view that it's open to diplomatic resolution. Yes, it welcomes China's readiness to make a meaningful contribution, but the geopolitical realities, the Kremlin says, must be taken into account. And that is reference to those 4 annexed regions of Ukraine, reference to Crimea, and also Russia's general concerns about NATO and Western European nations being potentially a threat to Russia. So all of that suggests that it's not inviting new thinking on this matter, although the Kremlin said Vladimir Putin would take the time, as he has done so many times before, to remind Xi Jinping exactly why Russia took this course of action and why it feels it's justified.
So it suggests that there is a much larger agenda on the table. What might these two leaders be discussing?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Recall that this meeting was on the initiative of Moscow. It wanted to invite President Xi Jinping as he begins his 3rd term in office. And what the Kremlin would like to talk about is the strengthening bilateral cooperation. Just look at the treaties that are due to be signed on Tuesday. One related to deepening partnership, the other related to developing economic cooperation until 2030. Already on the up, the Kremlin says. In fact, it's describing current Chinese-Russia relations as the best they've ever been in history and only getting stronger. So with that, trade projects, massive projects in the far east of Russia related to gas and energy exports, and also ways to invite Chinese investment in Russia's far east as capital flows from the west become so much more difficult for Russia to get. So for 2 reasons, this is really important for Moscow. One is to show that China does not consider the recent so-called special military operation as getting in the way of their relationship, but also Russia sees this as the future, its relationship with China and nations in the east rather than the west, which is now clearly in the rearview mirror for Russia.
All right, many thanks for setting the scene for us. Stuart Smith reporting from Moscow.